really precise wards coming from the side of AHQ that just denies any sort of aggressive play from River.
And now if you're on the side of Talon, it's pretty much do or die here. You have to find a way back into this series or else you're going to be dropping down into the lower bracket. We load on into Champ Select. Like I mentioned before the break, Talon has opted to take the blue side, so they will have first pick. That does mean, though, AHQ can always look for a counter pick on the last pick, as it starts off with the Olaf ban from Talon and the Aphelios ban from AHQ.
Again, this draft is just one of these games where, or this series in particular, where Talon and AHQ are both comfortable to let Zoe, Syndra, and LeBlanc open. And that's, you know, playing really towards mid lane and playing for that counter and just challenging each other when it comes to the draft. And now we'll have to see what else is going to be taken off, as that's going to be the Kalista. And for AHQ, will that be the Ornn ban? And that will be the case.
All right, so now for Talon, you have first pick. You have first pick priority when it comes to Champ Select. So what are you putting everything on?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go with the Misfortune, true and try tested for Unified, as that's going to be the lock-in.
Now, this has been the trend whenever Talon sees it open. For AHQ, though, what do you take on this rotation? Considering Varus is open, and as well as the Kench, so you want to pair that up, keep Wacko safe in the lane.
Yeah, with also the Varus, you do have, of course, your ultimate provides a little bit more utility, but also can still go into that more late game style build, or the way AHQ has been playing. They've been very certain when it comes to their power spikes. I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to go lethality and we see another 30-minute game come out of AHQ. Looks like, though, it is going to be the Trundle hover once again, so we might be going a little bit later into this one as Kongyu looking to repeat what he did on game 2.
Yeah, most likely around maybe the 10 to 15 minute mark, or perhaps even just fight around Dragons and the Rift Herald. That was the style of AHQ in the past 2 games. And yeah, I think that's the beautiful part of the Varus pickup. You can pick it first and as well as adjust later on what composition Talon decides to draft. You can go for, just as you mentioned, more of the poke build or more of the autos. And River, we've seen how much of a monster he can be on this Jarvan. But against AHQ, that would be the biggest question.
Yeah, because like we mentioned in our pregame, we haven't seen a whole lot of River in this series. He's gotten himself an okay steal here and there. It's actually been Candy that got himself the full steal on the LeBlanc in the first game. This time around, though, it's going to be that Cataclysm paired with the bullet time from the Misfortune, and it's going to be Highwing on his Thresh for game 3.
But on the other hand, we've seen, aside from the usual bane of bullet time, interrupts is either the set, but on the other hand, you do have that Trundle for an easy pillar interrupt. And like I said earlier, for the Tom Kench, it is really nice to be paired with this Varus for that safety, and as well, especially during team fights, to compensate for the lack of mobility that a Varus has.
All right, so like you mentioned, Kench is going to get locked in for the side of AHQ now. Still holding on to those counter picks when it comes to the top and mid lane, so Talon are going to have to show their hand at least on one of them. So we see the bans roll through. It's going to be targeted toward up Hanabi, it seems, as the Mordekaiser banned out.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time in a row in this series to directly ban out Hanabi. Tons of respect towards this champion. It is the 2nd most picked champion, I believe, next to the Ornn. But now, Kassadin still being consistently locked out of this draft, as that's going to be another target towards Uniboy, which is another attack towards the late game that AHQ likes to play.
And then finally, it's going to be the Rumble ban here, so not going to have any Hot Pot combo alongside that bullet time, as Candy won't be able to pick that up, nor will Hanabi. And for Talon now, decision time. What do you wish not to play against? LeBlanc is still open, and they opt to actually ban out the Lissandra that was very good at shutting down Candy if they decide to go with the LeBlanc again.
Yeah, now the question is whether or not Uniboy will decide to pick up this LeBlanc or wait it out a little bit. Maybe either one would pick up the Zoe, or we'll see a possibly Syndra versus LeBlanc matchup. Again, I love this series in particular, as we've never actually seen, you know, the 3 Syndra, LeBlanc, and Zoe in a while from the previous series.
And this is now pretty much Maokai being locked in here for Civ, so going to be a frontline tank and a heavy engage. That does mean here for Candy, he's got to blind pick the LeBlanc now into this matchup, and we'll see if Uniboy has anything special lined up here. But it's pretty much kind of the same situation we've seen in the last 2 games where AHQ, they're just getting a big, beefy front line and saying, can you get at our main carry of this Varus or whatever mid laner we have in store?
Yeah, and that would be the same play in mind, because there is going to be a ton of peel, crazy peel, considering Tahm Kench is just one of the lifesavers for sure of such carries such as either the Misfortune or the Varus. And with that, it's gonna put Candy in a tight spot to find the timings, maybe bait out the Devourer first before anything else.
All right, so we're gonna get ourselves the game plank locked in here for Hanabi in the top lane. And now for AHQ, what do they opt to go with here? Azir makes it through the draft, so we'll see whether or not Uniboy is going to be able to help carry these fights alongside the Varus.
And that's 30 seconds on the clock. Looks like that is the approach that AHQ is going to go. And for me, Talon, after such close games, especially for the second one, not exactly the first one, we'll see whether or not they're able to execute this, as this is River not on the Rex side this time, but on the Jarvan.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to where AHQ say, all right, we're going to be happy playing this late game. Whether or not, though, they're able to survive from Unified, who's going to be on the Misfortune this time. There's a lot of dive potential coming out here from Talon. A lot of wombo combo in their arsenal. But there isn't really a front line here that they have to rely on to the back. So if they aren't able to get these 2 main targets during a team fight, they will get wiped out immediately. And HQ could easily be looking at a 3-0 sweep.
Very true. It's all about getting that first initial sight of damage and allowing Candy for either a cleanup or possibly maybe even a bullet time. We'll have to see, as at least River is on the Jarvan. Now it's not, there is some sort of utility involved when it comes to the late game with the Cataclysm at least, so there is that for Talon.
We'll see here as we're going to go ahead to load on into the Rift for our 3rd game of the night. HQ, 1 win away from advancing on in the playoffs. Talon, 1 loss away from dropping into the lower bracket. If they're going to have to make a start some point here to try and make a climb back into the series, they're only down now to their final game where they can do so to try and force us all the way back to a possible Game 5.
We'll have to see. BO5 series between Talon and HQ. HQ looking very confident right now, especially that they're setting up once more for this 5v5, and as well as a little bit of Trundle to relieve and create pressure at some of the first few minutes of the game. And as well as objectives, at least you have that deny away from the bullet time channel.
Well, just don't mind Uniboy there, just doing a little bit of a chicken dance, why not? That's not actually the chicken dance. Galio's the one that actually has the chicken dance as his
oh yeah,
as his dance when he used the chicken costume. You know, fast food delivery.
That was cute.
He would be so good right now, given the situation, you know, how I have to, you know, order all my food in, can't really go out and buy food. I would love to have Galio. Now, he would possibly knock down my building if he was off by, you know, a couple meters. So that's one little small thing you have to worry about. But
you get your food.
I don't know, unless, you know, I'm crushed by my building. I don't really get my food.
Yeah, that is not a good deal, yeah.
I wonder if he has customer satisfaction guarantee. Kongyu might be looking to help satisfy the top lane here, as that's going to be him already pathing toward Hanabi. And it's a gangplank. Early levels, doesn't have a whole lot of escape tools available to him, as Civ is going to happily just walk up toward him. Kongyu has that pillar available, already going to get that slow. Flash came out from Hanabi. Civ, though, only able to get the slow. A flash forward into the bite. It's first blood onto the Trundle.
Nice munch from Kongyu, and again, because of the shift of play styles from AHQ, Talon did not see this coming. That's the reason why they didn't put an early trinket towards that brush, because they never really expected that this gank to come early, considering Kongyu will usually appear around the 10-minute mark, no matter what champion he uses, even if it's like a Lee Sin or something. And this is really well played by AHQ.
And this is kind of the danger when you blind pick a Gangplank, to be all honest. Or you just pick Gangplank in general. His early levels, he's very exposed if he's not careful, if he doesn't have the orange available, but that is going to be the hook denied away by Ysera with the Devour. So I'm interested. We may see Kongyu actually do that gank again and again throughout the early levels of the game, because that was the one thing we didn't see Talon do in their game too.
Yeah, and I think it is about... It's one of those things where they're comfortable, because when we look at the 2-0 game that Talon managed to rise victorious against AHQ, nothing really happened after. We had to wait until the 10-minute mark between these junglers. And Kongye will just see eye to eye with River over there. But yeah, that's the thing. It's just it's a shift of playstyle that definitely Talon did not expect.
So River just getting a little bit of a hint to where Kongye is. He's going to try and path up into the jungle, maybe try and get some pressure down, as the Wolves has already been taken, so River not going to get anything off this little invade. And absolutely nothing, as the bot side jungle was cleared out by Kongyu already. And Uniboy safe underneath the tower, not going to get dove either.
Yeah, and Kongye not going to finish the Raptors as he was actually starting it. Possibly looking for a counter gank perhaps, as River was at that side, maybe looking for something, maybe waiting for Kaiwing to get a hook in. But now he's back to his Raptors, and therefore gank not again successful for River.
Back we go. Kongyu going to go ahead and likely just spot out River once again. Scuttle, though, is going to be started, so it looks like he's not going to really try and contest that either. So other than that first kill for AHQ, not much else going to happen on the map in the first 5 minutes here. Our question, though, was what is River going to do here on this Jarvan? Is he going to try and make an impact early compared to the last 2 games we've seen him in? Already a ping coming out here, might be looking for the play here onto Uniboy, as Candy's going to go aggressive. Kaiwing also going to go for the roam. Uniboy, though, gets himself underneath the tower. He's going to get hooked, though, and a beautiful combo coming out from Talon. That's going to find themselves a kill in mid lane. Does go on over to the Thresh, though.
Beautifully done by Kaiwing as well, along with River on that gang, coming from 2 sides. So in case the first initiation did not pan out, you have Kaiwing at least to double down that CC, and that was beautifully done. Baiting out like at least the shifting sands, and with that, no choice but to use the flash, as Uniboy will still have that available for later at least.
Yeah, so decided to hold on. Wasn't too sure whether or not he would have needed it, but ends up costing him in the end. So it is a answered kill, at least in mid lane here for Talon. Not falling behind early to AHQ.
Yeah, and again, the question was, what does River decide to do, as his attempts were mostly focused on bot side, but with a Tom Kench in hand for Wacko, it seems that it will make the job even harder. Might as well attack Uniboy before level 6 as to not have the Empress Divide for that pushback and get a kill before that level 6 arrives. But now, Dragon is live, Talon rotating over this spot.
So that's going to be Cloud Drake started here by Talon, as doesn't look like AHQ are going to be able to really do anything to try and answer this. Kongyu might decide to get a little bit aggressive here. No level 6 for Unify. Kongyu just jumps on in. It's going to be smited down, though, by the side of River. Teleport coming on over. Emperor's Divide, though, is online for Uniboy. Ends up using it, and now Candy's caught out toward the side. He's got to be careful. Civ, though, finds a kill. It's a bit of chaos. There it goes, Candy as well. And AHQ, messy fights in the early game continue to go in their favor here, even in Game 3.
Yeah, no one fell from AHQ. In fact, it was Talon that had to suffer the consequences there, despite Talon wanting to start that fight, as AHQ had to linger around a little bit. Kongyu was definitely very low, but at that time you saw Kaiwing also fall in the hands of Ziv with that root, and Candy just exploded as he definitely tried to bait it out using the clone moving forward towards the tri-bush, and it didn't work as AHQ managed to eliminate him as well.
So there you go. It is the Cloud Drake secured by Talon, as River was able to get his smite off. Kongyu got knocked up, was not able to do it himself. Still, though, 2 kills going on over to AHQ, and we've seen them be happy taking those kill trades early on in the game, as long as they are sitting ahead of the curve of Talon.
Yeah, especially if the exchange would have a couple of leads for that Dragon. And I suppose Talon will take that as a consolation prize. Unfortunately, the kills will go over to Wacko and as well as Ziv. In the meantime, though, Vision For AHQ, I did praise their vision. Still a lot of protection in terms of entrances towards the red and blue area of HQ, which I believe Talon likes to linger around a little bit just to try and find something alongside with Kaiwing now that he's on the Thresh.
We'll see here is AHQ. It's going to be a Sarah and Wacko just pathing directly up the river. They do get spotted out by a ward, and they're just going to try and push in this mid lane. As always, the trade looks to be the Rift Herald in response to them losing out on the Dragon earlier. They do see the bot lane is down on the bot side of the map. They are going to start pathing on forward, so AHQ, if they're going to do this, they need to start doing it now, as Unify and Kaiwing are going to be coming on over. They do have level 6 on the Misfortune. These are prime real estate if they want to try and go for a fight here. 3,000 health onto the Rift Herald. AHQ a little hesitant here, not too sure exactly what they want to do, as Kaiwing now advancing forward with Unified. River also there as well. It's going to be a 50-50. Smite goes on over to Kongya as they're able to find themselves the Rift Herald. Do they actually pick up the eye? Yes, there it is. River wants to go in for the fight though. Cataclysm comes on down. Unfortunately, the bullet time just a little bit too far to the side. Sarah goes down low but has the shield available. AHQ though has to flash out of the pit to try and get the safety. Hanabi tried to get very aggressive. Not going to be able to find his mark though. And it's only River that gets taken down. They do lose out though on the Rift Herald as well, as AHQ were able to secure it during skirmish.
AHQ is doing amazing in these objective fights, despite having that one level deficit versus the 80 carries, as Wacko didn't have his level 6 just yet. They managed to still get that kill against River, managed to get the Rift Herald, denying Candy any sort of assassination as they managed to block, you know, the chains off. And with that, Candy had to run away as well, and Wacko even getting level 6 in time too.
You see Hanabi there, maybe a little too excited on the gangplank, tried to go for the flash parlay, not gonna actually land though, and that's gonna be, unfortunately, the gangplank not having his one summoner to try and escape during any of the ganks, so maybe we see Kongya make another appearance toward the top side of the map. AHQ though, find themselves another kill, and they have a Rift Herald, and it now comes down to whether or not they're able to take any of this freestanding gold on the map, as we still have turret plates for the next 4 minutes.
Now, what does AHQ decide? Where does AHQ decide to put it, rather? Especially that you do have really scary heavy hitters for the side of AHQ, either on this Azir or as well for Wacko on the Varus. Perhaps maybe mid lane just to try and shut down more room for Candy to roam around the map. Perhaps that would be the call for AHQ.
You see there, maybe trying to roam up. Candy though is going to back off and hell, maybe even make a path up toward the top side of the map here as pings are coming out. So Civ going to be taken down here if he's not careful, as Hanabi pressing forward. Civ, no flash available. Going to try and get himself to an escape. Going to get chained up there by Candy. Ends up using his ultimate to try and delay the inevitable. 3 members of Talon in top lane. The shutdown goes over to the Jarvan. Meanwhile, mid lane though, instantly AHQ knocking on the front door.
That is a lot of plates to take, and especially Candy does not have teleport, has to walk manually, and now they've laid on the hurt with a Rift Herald as well. So that's going to be a full charge in towards the plates with 1 left.
And instantly a rotation over to possibly this Oath and Drake, as they're going to go ahead, clear out some vision. Candy can't really do anything. River's already still on the top side of the map, and with no real answer here, AHQ, they trade a Maokai for 4 plates in mid lane onto Uniboy, as well as 1 dragon.
Yeah, and there's still 2 plates at top side. Let's take a look at this gank again. So Civ buying a lot of time. So with Talon investing 3 members on the top side, this leaves open that mid lane and possibly even the direction that HQ wants to take for that first blood of a tower. Since there's still 2 plates on HQ side, teleport is going to be up for Civ as well. So at least there's that.
With that, we also now have Infernal Soul for map 3 of the best of 5. Having our first items though start to come online here on the side of Talon. We got the Trinity Force completed for the Gangplank, and now Essence Reaver 2. So Unified starting to get a bit more damage onto that bullet time, especially with that extra little bit of crit chance. Gonna still be waiting though on for that Infinity Edge before it really spikes in power.
Yeah, Wacko in the meantime going for more of the auto attack build, as there's a lot of dive coming from Talon, so might as well go for that one. It's definitely more effective when it comes to those kinds of composition. And in the meantime, Candy has been searching for these opportunities to visit a little bit more since we've seen the first one at topside when they eliminated Ziv. Candy has been having priority when it comes to the lane so far. Vision-wise, not a lot of protection aside from possibly Candy's right side or that river near the dragon. But anything else though, Kanye can possibly make a visit if ever. Candy's still a little bit more advanced.
You see him, he's been able to sneak down toward the bot side. In comes the Chain of Corruption. Instantly flashed away there by Kaiwing. Good reaction on the Thresh. Gets himself to safety as Kanye ends up showing himself from the brush.
Yep, and I think that is a pretty good deny, as most of the time, or sometimes. Ooh, Candy. Being very sneaky, canceling that fort. Yeah, it denies any sort of flash death sentence play away from Kaiwing at least, and removes a little bit of safety out of this Thresh. So that will be very handy when, I suppose, the next objective spawns, which is in a few seconds at topside.
So a lot of pings coming out there from Talon. We're maybe looking for a play on Uniboy, but he's going to back off to his base anyway. It's also going to be the teleport used, so not going to have that for a possible answer of a fight, but still, nonetheless, Ysera's nearby, and that's a very aggressive play coming out from the Emperor himself. Not going to actually find the shuffle, though, as he decides not to pull the trigger, especially onto a lone Candy. Not going to be able to do a whole lot there against the LeBlanc. It goes back up to the front of the farm game, up in top lane, it seems, here for AHQ.
Yeah, considering there wasn't any vision for Uniboy in the mid lane, so that was a little bit brave. I mean, I understand the bravery. Candy didn't have mana at the time as much, but we see the rotation. Kanye wanted to do something there, as Candy will respond with a teleport as well.
You can see AHQ having to respond here as Talon are getting a little bit antsy. They want to try and find a possible play here into the jungle as they deny some of the ward coverage coming out from AHQ. Kongyu, though, is going to stay safe toward the bot side of the map and maybe try and look for another lane gank, as Ysera could always deliver him in. There is River, though, for the counter gank, and pings are already coming out here, as now, unfortunately, on the side of AHQ, they're putting a lot of resources onto Kaiwing. Bullet Time's going to be there, gets a decent amount of damage, but not a whole lot, and now the Cataclysm could be there, but there's not a whole lot of follow-up damage. Ysera's able to tank up as much as he wants. Now Civ rejoins in onto the fight, as Hanabi also teleported down to the bot lane.
Wow, and no one died as well. Ysera was very low, a lot of flashes burnt. And you see Candy wanting to make his way down at bot side, but yeah, that's gonna be quite equal. But summoners-wise, it seems to me that Talon has won that one, as Unified still has both summoners intact.
Yeah, still a lot used there by AHQ, as yeah, Ysera had to use both his exhaust and flash, same with Kongya on the flash. Still, though, 40 seconds on the Drake, and with Civ already down in this bot lane, and Hanabi going to be showing himself top lane, that should allow AHQ control of the Dragon. Well, it looks like Kongya is going to go for a reset a bit late.
Yeah, and for Talon, they do have a couple of advanced vision on the jungle side of AHQ, so at least they can anticipate how many members are going to be around that area, and they can possibly buy some time, as you can see Hanabi making his way as well on the bot side of the map, especially without teleport.
Now making a straight beeline over to the pit. Kongya is going to do the same, though, and we're getting set for another 5v5. See here. Hostile fight could really break open the game if one side isn't careful here, as already you see Uniboy just trying to clear out. A nice pillar, actually. Keeps Candy and Hanabi contained. A decent amount of damage coming out from the sapling of Civ, and going to use that to try and at least zone away the side of Talon. Pings, though, coming out here. Where is Unified? He's going to be separated from the fight if he's not careful. Talon, 4 members toward the top side of the map. It's AHQ that just want to go ahead and pull the triggers. They know that this misfortune is nowhere to be seen. Now finally going to jump on in. Cataclysm there into the cannon barrage. The Dragon is secured. It's the bullet time, though, coming out from the side of Unified. Not able to find the damage. Hanabi on the back line on top of Uniboy. It's going to be Kongyu that gets taken down. It's going to be the one member for the Infernal Drake, as AHQ were able to secure it during the skirmish.
Yeah, nicely done. I think it was River on the stopwatch. So what AHQ did, okay, let's burst this one down because there is no one to smite this one out. And because of that, that gave the opportunity for them to secure and no possible steal whatsoever. This cannon barrage combo into the bullet time was massive for Talon. It really forced the backline of AHQ to just concede and back away.
And with that, tower isn't going to be taken in mid lane. We're still looking for that first brick gold. Talon, though, are able to secure a small gold advantage into the second Rift Herald on the map. First brick, though, does go on over to the Varus, so that's a little bit extra gold funneled onto Waco, as unfortunately Unified ended up going toward the mid lane and not able to clear that out.
Yep, and now it's just one of those things where they have to wait for more objectives to appear in the map to further push their lead. And especially if you want to play around this LeBlanc, we did mention that you want to get this snowball rolling and pierce through the squishies of AHQ. And I keep mentioning about, especially when it comes to the later stages of the game where people are going to be building defensively, this is the window of opportunity where AHQ will still be opting more for those damage-heavy items.
We see Candy this time now having his Luna's Echo completed. Meanwhile, on the side of AHQ, Nasher's online for Uniboy. You also got your Sunfire for Civ. Uniboy going to maybe try and stop that tower from going down. He's got to be careful as Candy could easily just jump in. Look at this, so Kongyu looking for a possible play in mid. Fortunately, Wave is going to push back into Talon's tower, so not a whole lot he can do himself.
Yeah, and Waco does not have flash, so have to be careful. But Sarah is just nearby. This tower, though, can fall.
See Candy doing some fancy footwork there, getting around the soldiers. And it's kind of turned into a bit of a stalemate between the two squads, both respecting their carries where they need to, but it's going to be Rift Herald pop mid lane as River wants to try and force something to happen. Unfortunately, with no minion wave, it might be hard to do a whole lot here, as it will be Shelly at least getting the charge off. River's going to be able to defend it a little longer. Kongyu decided not to try and just delay it. Puts down the pillar, not able to do anything. The tower will go down.
I think I wanted to hit the eye to deny at least the charge, but I don't think it happened. I think in the form of the pillar. Anyway, for HQ, they've lost their mid lane tower for now, and Hanabi farming a lot though, in comparison to the rest of the players in this map.
Yeah, a little concerned that AHQ didn't actually try and, you know, maybe put him down a bit more during the early game, as unfortunately for Kongyu, it didn't look like he had another opportunity. He was too occupied with other skirmishes on the map, and that has allowed this Gangplank to just start to farm up a bit of a gold lead, and we know how scary Hanabi can get if he's given the gold and the opportunity to make plays on the map.
Yeah, and especially once, you know, earlier on we saw the Gangplank have that Sterax, so we'll be able to survive throughout the fights and be a little bit more brave when laying down the barrel combos. And for HQ, I'd be a little bit worried, especially that all their fights involves these pathways around the river, around either the Baron, and it's just a perfect setup for Hanabi on the barrels.
Still though, we got ourselves Civ going to clear out the vision toward the top side, getting rid of the control ward. I think we've seen for the first time this series AHQ in full respect mode of Talon. Kind of letting Talon have a bit of free reign when it comes to the movements on the map. May change though here, as we're going to have 40 seconds until our next Infernal. AHQ were able to secure the first one. Pings are already coming on down. You got Uniboy, who's finished off his Sword Boots, so has a little bit of extra pen. You also have your Rage Blade completed for the Varus, so some item spikes here and there for AHQ may give them the confidence to try and go for a fight.
Yeah, and it's gonna time perfectly well with Waco's flash as well, so that at least will have an additional source of defense, not relying too much on Isera after the Devour, considering that River will definitely time that Cataclysm and make sure that Waco will be inside that place. And now, Dragon has spawned.
They're gonna get Death Sentence. Box comes out. A lot used there actually by Kaiwing. He's kind of caught out toward the side, forced the flash away. Only the one ultimate used by the Thresh. Candy looking for a flank here, getting a little bit of damage. You see HQ not afraid to try and jump there, and that forces Candy to have to use his flash. Waco, though, does not have his flash as a defensive summoner now for this ensuing fight. Hanabi also over toward the side, going to use the cannon barrage. In they go. It's going to be secured on the side here of AHQ. Blood Time, though, gets a decent shred of damage onto Kongya, and Uniboy not able to find his target. Candy, though, gets exhausted, and there you go. The Shurima Shuffle not able to find its target, and Uniboy can't finish off the LeBlanc, still trying to kite back. And it's going to be one member lost on the side of AHQ for the second Infernal Drake.
And we were talking about Hanabi has been farming so much in this game, left alone after that gank. And because of that, he is brave enough to 1v1 Wacko. Wacko is forced to back away and not do 80 carry things in the team fight.
Maybe looking for a dive here if they're not careful. That's going to force HQ to have to back off. Tower will go down. That's going to be Talon's third tower taken. We'll take another look with this fight, starting with a cannon barrage and a bullet time, but onto the tanky members of AHQ.
Yeah, and as you can see, Wacko got hit by the barrel. And look at Hanabi zoning Wacko out of this fight. Therefore, no 80 carry. And the snipe didn't hit Candy. And the Scorch not even enough as well. So for Uniboy, that is quite unfortunate, as that's just one auto attack from a near minion. That's the only one left to eliminate Candy there. And that bounty is building for the carries of Talon, and they're looking really, really solid. It's starting to look like, you know, the Talon and AHQ fights that we've seen in the group stages.
So unfortunately, just a pixel or two away from catching Candy could have given at least AHQ a traded kill, but they do at least still get that Infernal Drake. And now they are looking at Infernal Soul possibly on the next team fight. They are able to get it to go in their favor. Do have to warrant, though, that Candy had a really good juke there on the distortion, was able to get away from the Emperor's Divide at the beginning part of the fight. So for AHQ, they are showing signs of what that late game can look like if they're able to keep the Azir alive, just not enough damage yet to finish off kills.
Yeah, and considering Uniboy opted for that Banshees just to not get bursted, Isera walking into a trap.
These two members there, Lantern going to come out. That will be all that happens here.
Yeah, as I was saying, Banshees, at least for Uniboy, while it will sort of slow down his growth in terms of damage, at least you will not be able to get bursted down immediately, coming from Candy in one single combo. But yeah, it's all about that consistent damage in towards the team fight. And for Wacko, just as you mentioned, Ginsu is at least completed. If not for the barrels, I think AHQ would have had a better chance when it came to the fight. But now, it's, again, clearing the waves as mid lane still pretty much intact a little bit for Talon.
One minion wave should be able to knock it down. River looking for a flank here on the Jarvan. He's on top of the control ward, so he knows he's fine. Uniboy lost his Banshees. Is that enough for them to pull the trigger? It's not going to happen there as the sapling catches out River. And that allows AHQ to back off after taking the mid lane tower. It's still a 2,500 gold lead here for Talon.
Yep, and again, Talon will have to find these fights. Maybe not in mid lane, since HQ is already anticipating any sort of flank potential, considering there's a lot of protective vision. In terms of teleport, though, there is one set up near the blue buff, so if ever AHQ decides to push forward in that, then they have to be careful with either teleport from Candy and Hanabi.
Civ is just going to go ahead and clear out the wave. He is a Maokai, so he's just going to get tankier and tankier as the day goes. Unfortunately, he's still only sitting on his 2 items. Candy onto the side lane, applying some pressure, and this is a bit more in line to a lot of the wins that we saw from Talon during the regular season, where they were always trying to get some side lane pressure in with a lone member, well, 4 members pushed in mid lane. Sometimes it wouldn't pay off, and it could feel slow. 40 seconds, though, on Infernal. AHQ looking at Soul. They don't have a whole lot of vision down on their end. It looks like the call is going to try and get Candy to at least apply side lane pressure. Has teleport available to join in on the fight, as Uniboy already pathing down towards the mid lane.
Yeah, and that seems to be, again, where taken aback to the first few weeks of the PCS once more. This is more of the same playstyle that AHQ and Talon likes to play. And for Talon, this, as you mentioned, quite familiar. Nice sidestep. Wacko spotted that out.
Teleport comes out from Candy on toward the top side here. Just looking to maybe catch out Waco. Not going to happen, though. Civ still has his ultimate ready. Infernal Drake now spawning. AHQ with this take could easily obtain Infernal Soul, and Uniboy can actually crush that down very fast. River's going to have to try and find a possible steal alongside Candy. Up to River to make the play. It doesn't happen. That's Infernal Soul secured by AHQ. Ensuing fight now going to take place into the bullet time. Able to get a decent amount of damage onto Uniboy. Ysera's able to keep him safe. Candy, though, still hunted on the LeBlanc. Can't distort over the wall, though, and that will allow AHQ to back off cleanly with Infernal Soul in hand.
Now they have more firepower, AHQ, and with that, they are still wary for the possible quick Baron take by Talon. We'll see if there's going to be a bait as they're rotating a little bit more towards the jungle parts of AHQ. And now with that, with the Infernal Drake on their side, this is just more damage on the side of AHQ, while Talon still not able to find clean kills as Candy was searching for the right timing, just not able to distortion in as HQ just keeps backing away.
Yeah, and Talon's actually lucky that Baron wasn't taken here, as HQ, they didn't really have any vision into the river, so they didn't see the ports come out from Talon. That's why they didn't go for this Baron, but now things get a little shaky when it comes to this game. You saw Candy was very close to getting the flank off onto Uniboy. And if he was able to get that kill, that could have snowballed out of control and could have possibly led to Talon taking home the game if HQ tried to defend. But now, we're into a bit of a stalemate where Elder Drake's going to be joining us in 5 minutes. There's a Baron now to fight over, but AHQ have that offensive buff with the Infernal Soul.
Yeah, and Talon has to be worried coming into these fights, considering, just as you mentioned, they have the Infernal Soul, and they have to respect the damage coming from HQ right now, and that's the reason why they're on defense mode. Good news is Talon at least have double teleport, so they can look to pressure 2 lanes at a time, at least, when AHQ is trying to buy some time, and then perhaps go teleport in towards the Baron if they want to deny this. AHQ now has the power.
This is your play. Civ has teleport available. He went back to the base, but is opting just to stay nearby. You see him just going to go for the walk now. HQ can easily burst this down and rip it apart when you have the Rage Blade 4 completed there. Waco, very close. It's going to be the engage coming out immediately. Waco, though, not going to be able to save himself. Ysera gets him out with the Devour. Waco is the main target from Candy, but unfortunately, he's not able to find the kill. And it's Uniboy picking it up. The shutdown, though, Waco was taken down. Hanabi able to find some good barrels. Uniboy needs to carry this fight now on the side of AHQ, but that's going to be Civ getting taken down, and AHQ need to start running back toward the top lane.
And that's what we were talking about coming into this draft. We've seen so many times where the Jarvan would immediately trap the Varus, and that seems to be the same story, considering that Wacko already consumed his flash as well. It wasn't enough. And the hook might have missed, but River just flashed in, locked in Waco for the bullet time cannon barrage, and even though Ysera was there next to him, it wasn't enough as Candy was there to finish off the kill, and Hanabi coming off from the side.
That's the scary part about this game plank, is if he can find the right angle on these barrels, he'll be able to just burst down one of these carries. Uniboy was able to stay safe, so as long as they keep up one member on the side of AHQ, it makes it rather difficult for Talon to end the game. But you saw now, Waco doesn't have flash now for the next fight. He can't be getting caught out like that. He cannot be the one trying to clear out control wards when there is a blind wall right next to it.
Yeah, and considering AHQ was already aware someone was there, and probably even thinking that it was just the Thresh after seeing that death sentence. So Talon really had a good jump scare on towards Wacko, so that's so well played. And you can see how there was no hesitation from River after that time.
Now AHQ at least pathing through the jungle, trying to get down some vision around this Baron. It's a scary thought now that you're starting to run out of time to try and at least force a Baron. Maybe it's the side of AHQ that wants to try and wait this out, try and go for the Elder Drake instead. Talon, though, They get themselves the inside push onto mid lane. That's going to have to force AHQ to have to decide whether or not they want to go and back off now. River's going to get instantly taken on down. Gets himself back to safety, though. A lot of damage onto the frontline tanks of AHQ, but they don't get any of the carries. Candy at least trying to get some damage onto Kongya. It won't be enough, though, and that should allow them to get back to base.
Beautiful coordination from the side of Talon there. As you put the Cataclysm in, you have that Lantern to immediately have River escape as the Flag and Drive combo was used to fix the gap up, shorten the gap up, rather.
This is scary. Over the wall, Candy goes, and a decent chunk of damage on Kongya. Ends up popping his stone plate a bit late. And with that chunk, that might be enough for AHQ to have to back off. Talon could maybe set up for a Baron, but Elder Drake in a minute.
Elder Drake in a minute. Summer spell still not online for the important carries, especially Wacko. A Unified has his, so this is going to be a problem when AHQ enters the fight and wants to eliminate the carries, including Candy. I mean, with the innate kit already from the LeBlanc already being slippery, and then you...
Yeah, it makes it very difficult to try and catch out this LeBlanc, especially if Candy can find a good flank. That might be the opportunity. Look at this, though, AHQ. They can burn down this Baron fast if Talon gives them room. 20 seconds, though, on Elder. AHQ, they're going to try and sneak it, but they are caught out by a blue trinket. Kaiwing, the rest of Talon are there. Uniboy's a little bit late getting out of here to safety. Kongya on the front line does not have Stoneplate available to try and get himself a bit of health. Hanabi ended up teleporting toward the top side. Looks like AHQ, though, immediately going to start pathing toward the Elder Drake.
And a lot of items online already for the side of AHQ, and as well as for Talon. Void Staff already for Candy, so that's going to be a huge chunk of burst on towards AHQ. Even at least the tanky members.
You can feel, though, there's panic in the air. AHQ want to try and go for a fight. Cannon Barrage is there. Not enough damage, though, coming out from Candy, only tagging Ziv. It does bring out the Elder Dragon, though, along the edge of the pit. 50-50 Dragon Smite now on the table. Can River actually secure it? He did it before. Can he do it again? The reset of the Elder Drake, though, denies that. Top lane is pushing in on the side of Talon. Candy getting caught out by the pillar. And once again, here we go. 8,000 health on your Elder Dragon. Hanabi looking for a flank, able to get a big chunk of damage on the Kongya. Candy goes on in. That's her call, and they find themselves finally the jungler, but Uniboy is still alive. Emperor's Divine. Candy gets denied. He can't get in, and Waco is still on the front line, and it goes on over to the side of Talon. HQ, they got to get rid of some of these Elder Dragon busts, but they won't be able to. Piercing Arrow charged up, but not going to be let loose, and Elder Drake is secured by Talon.
I was so worried because mid lane is pushing in favor of Talon, so if AHQ got wiped there, then that is the time for Talon to take on the game. This is a beautifully coordinated burst on towards the jungler, at least for AHQ, and that gave room for Talon to just try to burst down this Elder Drake, and at that point, they're going to be satisfied with the buff and then just retreat and fight another day.
And now it gets very scary here for AHQ, where you can't actually pretty much go for a fight without pretty much getting killed here by that Elder Drag buff. Especially with Baron still available, Talon could rotate on over. And then with the double buff in hand, look to close out this game. AHQ trying to stall what they can. Make It Rain comes out from Unified. You see Talon looking to position themselves toward Baron. Kongya does have Flash available. That's his one way in, but he has no way out. We'll see here. 10,000 health onto the Baron. Uniboy able to try and get a little bit of damage. Civ just getting poked down by Candy. Hanabi's going to try and get the inside track onto mid lane, setting up the possible win condition if they're able to find a fight. Kongya has to decide what he wants to do here. AHQ, do or die time, it seems, here, as Kongya wants to try and get over that pit. A decent bullet time comes out, though, into the cannon barrage. Is it enough to finish them off, though? It won't happen, but finally they find their target. Unified is able to get the kill. Uniboy, though, still alive over toward the side, but Baron is secured by Talon.
And that is going to be double buff for Talon. Looks like that's going to be the reset, as Candy does have that teleport and is able to go back into battle. Now that's 30 seconds on the clock for Kongya. This is going to be a very difficult defense for AHQ.
AHQ, we'll see whether or not they can hold on here as the push comes through on the side of Talon. Elder Drake still available. They got themselves a minion wave, 4v5. Candy just jumping in. Big chunk of damage. Waco can't do a whole lot here. First tower is going to fall. Engage comes out from River, gets the Cataclysm on down. Waco's still fine, though. No one's actually going for this. It's Talon. They're disorganized. They're all trying to force in onto the base, but AHQ are able to find the hole.
Nice sidestep, and they want to engage on this one.
Want to go for the engage. No more Elder Drake available. Civ jumps in. He gets critted down very fast, though. He's got to be careful. Uniboy almost ends up going for the possible play. The slow is there onto Unified. Re-engage comes back on out, though, from River trying to find the flag drag. Not going to happen. Bullet time also used. They're all whiffing left and right. Maokai ultimate for the hold, and Talon can still not find entrance into AHQ's base.
My heart in this game, that was a lot of low health targets for both sides, and in the end Talon wanted to focus on towards the Nexus, or perhaps maybe even eliminate Wako beforehand. It all started with this beautiful bullet time there, and just immediately put Kong in an awkward spot, and as well as Uniboy, not allowing any sort of potential steals towards this Baron.
And for Talon, there isn't another game after this if they lose, so with the game in hand, how do they try and close this out? Elder Dragon going to be spawning in 2.5 minutes. Baron buff still in their hands for another minute 10 seconds. That's going to be a teleport coming out from Hanabi toward the bot lane, trying to get the side lane pushed in. The other thing you got to factor now too is Talon do not have a Nexus turret up. So if they don't keep tabs on Candy on the LeBlanc or Hanabi with the split push, he could just walk into the base and take the tower. Wade goes way too far forward. Cannon Barrage comes out, and Unified able to crit him down. Into the combo it goes. Unified trying to find a good setup. Emperor's Divide is there, and they do use the Maokai ultimate once again to try and disengage. A good barrel, though, gets a decent chunk of damage. River back on the engage with the flag drag. Golden Civ is there, but the hook lands onto the Azir, and Unified able to find the kill with the bullet time. Kaiwing gets the kill credit himself, and Talon look to force the series to game 4, and are not done yet, as Kongyu has to watch his base fall. Nexus is there. Talon are still in this.
What a game from Talon. You know what? All of these important mid laners are still open. LeBlanc, Syndra, Zoe. Even though the LeBlanc didn't work initially in towards the series, they still managed to pull through. They were really confident when pressing that trigger and just catching AHQ off guard. I am happy that we're heading over to the next game and possibly even a game 5.
Yeah, for Talon, it's time for the run back here. Whether or not they can make it happen is going to be the question, but getting this game was crucial. I think it was a good morale boost when it came to the composition that they played once again. It was needing Candy to get the main targets, getting a good flank off. This time he was able to do it. That was the difference between Game 3 and the rest of the series so far for Talon, was whether or not Candy was able to get a flank and able to kill one of these squishy members. And Waco, I have to ask, why are you that far in the lane, especially at 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think that was the nail in the coffin definitely for that last few the last few minutes of the game, and I feel like perhaps they could have defended a little bit more. But yeah, Wako was caught there in between the inner tower and as well as the inhibitor tower, and unfortunately, since Talon has been quite ahead in towards these fights, they can immediately try to burst you down, and with that, it makes me wonder what the plan is for AHQ, considering they had like this 2-game lead in towards the series and then losing that afterwards. And now Talon, it seemed to me that they're unfazed despite the 2 defeats that they have experienced in this series, and I'm just looking forward for more.
Yeah, it's a great turnaround, and the team really needed it, especially after that Game 1, which it was near a perfect game coming out from AHQ. And considering Talon were able to beat AHQ twice during the regular season, the fact that they were almost swept was a big concern, I think, for the team as a whole. But now with the victory in hand, they force Game 4 and can always keep this series alive and possibly force us to a Game 5.
Yeah, and the thing was with that composition of AHQ, it was very solid at the, I suppose, during the mid phases of the game. But in terms of engage, they didn't really have that reliable engage tool to sort of shut down the air quote pokes that Candy is putting on towards the side of AHQ. And considering Hanabi had to free farm farm through the whole game too. So the barrels had a huge impact as well. If the damage wasn't enough to kill a target, then you had Candy to finish everyone off.
Yeah, so that was the plan here. It was good to see. I'm a bit sad that we didn't see more punishment onto that gangplank, but because of the fact that these teams like to prioritize a lot of those early skirmishes, those 4v5s, 5v5s around the first or second dragon, there wasn't a whole lot of time Kongyu could really spend up toward the top lane to try and shut him down further. And of course, it's a Maokai that you're trying to get ahead. At some point, he's just getting more tanky, and that's really all that ends up happening with the tree himself. But it's just wild fights and wild opportunities that Talon were able to find their victory. Let's go back to that Alder Drake fight.
Yeah, and it also had something to do with composition as well. If you compare it to the AD carry, in terms of AD carries, but let's take a look at this fight first. Cataclysm in towards that Lantern again, which is such a great combo when it comes to saving River and just immediately trapping that the enemy jungler or whoever is important on the side of Talon or AHQ at the time. And they played this combo well, the Ysera, rather the Thresh and Jarvan combo when it comes to the late game fights.
Yeah, able to find their picks as well as the bullet times coming out from the Misfortunes. Does a decent amount of damage, as you can see by the damage graph in your bottom right. So with that, Talon keep the series alive as they're trying to seek their matchup against Machi into the next round. AHQ, though, still with the hammer, with match point heading into Game 4. And I gotta wonder now, are we going to see this LeBlanc be let through? Are we going to see a similar composition like this from Talon? Or is AHQ going to try and force a different playstyle?
Yeah, especially when the Lissandra is going to get banned again if they're going to set up for a LeBlanc once more. So that's something to consider coming into the next draft. Also, MVP, well-deserved from Candy, really pressured the back line of AHQ, not allowing, as well as the front line. Kanye is getting chunked a lot of times actually when it comes to the team fights. And yeah, the Talon, I'm very happy to see them pull through after that 2 defeat into the series.
Yeah, because arguably that was one of the more squishy trundles I've seen here in the PCS, is unfortunately Kanye not able to pop his stone blade in time, and really ended up costing the team a lot, especially with the fact that you're not able to secure Alder Drake without your jungler. River was still alive, and they decided not to try and turn directly onto River to try and shut him down immediately. So with that, Talon keep the series alive. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves set for Game 4. We, though, are going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll see how the series continues to pan out.